This is not a ride-sharing video. I repeat, this is not a ride-sharing video. What up, folks? Once again, it is your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. As you may hear in the background, I am obviously watching the simulcast of, can't see it really, but I'm watching the simulcast of the first arrest of a former U.S. president in American history. So the question we're going to be asking today, folks, while the former president is actually being indicted or being arrested, rather, he's already been indicted. He's now about to be arrested and arraigned. While this is simultaneously happening, we have to ask the question, will he survive his legal battles? Now, make no mistake about it, a lot of folks believe what's going on in New York is bullshit, it's petty, trumped up charges, whatever the case may be. Nevertheless, most legal analysts feel fairly confident this is not the first and only time Trump will be indicted, arraigned, and arrested. Georgia, Merrick Garland with the documents case, the January 6th hearings committee. There is someone out there accusing him of sexual assault. There are a lot more cases hovering around President Trump, and many would suggest all of them are stronger, tougher cases than what he's dealing with in New York. Not to mention, in regards to what's going on in New York, they're suggesting there are 30 different charges here. We don't know what they are. We do not know what they are. All we know is he's being accused of paying a porn star with campaign funds. That's not 30 different crimes. So what are the 30 charges? And what is the likelihood President Trump is going to ultimately reign victorious over all of these legal woes he's facing in state and criminal, or better yet, state and federal courts? All right, looking in the comments as always, this is a MAGA-friendly program. MAGA are my preferred guests. I don't ban, block, or censor anyone for their commentary. Give you plenty of time to state your case in the box without fear of being blocked, banned, or censored. And if you don't agree with the host, it never means a damn thing here. It's all about your right to free speech, in which I value just as much as my own. In the comments, make prison great again. Wow. Well, at the end of the day, Trump is not going to go to prison. I can't see any outcome where Trump is incarcerated. Worst case scenario, and I do mean by far the worst case scenario, is he would end up on house arrest. But I don't think he's going to face any of that. Looking in the comments, they want y'all focused on Trump while the world is on fire. Rocky G, it's not just that they want us focused on Trump. Trump want us focused on Trump. I'll go straight to the box, but let me make it clear here. There are rumors hovering around that the Secret Service and the state of New York offered to do this after hours on a weekend in the middle of the night. And Trump chose to do all of this in the spotlight. Chose to get off the plane and walk out in the open, which is a nightmare for the Secret Service. They wanted to do this on a low, quiet, low-key fashion. There are rumors that Trump is the reason why this is having such a huge spectacle. All right, going straight to the box, because many folks believe that Trump will benefit from this. So he wants to show that he's being victimized. All right, we'll keep it going. We'll start out with Farlow. Farlow, what the hell are we doing? Arrested a former president. Are we making a mistake?
No, I think it just dirties him up. However, the polls are showing that this gave him a huge bump, but it's early. It's early. So when the primary season comes, we'll see exactly how much damage this actually does. I don't think we're going to see it right now. Right now, he gets a boost.
Yeah, but it gave him a huge bump with who? Do you think it gave him a huge bump with independents or with Republicans, or better yet, Democrats? You think Democrats are starting to support Trump because of what he's going through?
No, and it's the Republicans. That's how you got to win the primary first before you even get to the. So yeah, in the primary, he's leading now by like 7 or 10 points, where he was leading by he was either losing by 3 or winning by 1. Now he's up big to DeSantis.
Losing to who? Trump has been in the lead the whole time.
No, DeSantis had him in certain states. I mean, primary is state by
Okay.
state. Yeah, in certain states, DeSantis, like Alabama, DeSantis is leading still, even though he got the bump in the majority.
DeSantis is leading Trump in the polls in Alabama.
Yes,
Wow. I had to look that up. I have not heard of that. I didn't
I'm in
know.
Alabama. I'm in Alabama.
Okay,
That's the only
fair
reason I
enough.
know.
Fair enough.
So
That's
that's how I
crazy.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that DeSantis was beating Trump anywhere. So that's crazy that in Alabama of all places, they want DeSantis more than President Trump. I wonder why is that?
Because DeSantis is Trump, but he's just more. He doesn't have. You don't have to worry about the Twitter and the. Uh, you don't have to worry about the Twitter part of DeSantis
True.
versus
You don't
Trump.
have to worry about the rhetoric. The rhetoric
Correct.
is what you're talking
Exactly.
about. But let me ask you this, because in the
Exactly.
audience, folks are asking this of you in the audience. What poll have you heard this from?
As far as the Alabama DeSantis winning, that was done on a
Yeah.
local radio station here on
Oh,
92.1 WVNN. Um,
okay.
I believe he was citing the poll. There's like five polls that were taken after the news he got indicted. You can just Google it, and his lead is in the Republican primary. Now I'm being very specific. I'm not saying
Right.
versus Biden. I'm saying in the Republican primary, he's up big.
But in some states, DeSantis is actually still beating them.
Yeah, Alabama's the only one I know about. I don't know about any other state.
What about
I'm
in
pretty sure.
Florida where
I'm pretty
DeSantis? What
sure.
about
I'm pretty
Florida where
sure Florida.
DeSantis? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Florida. DeSantis is winning. He won even when Trump lost in 2020. DeSantis won big in Florida, and we all know that. So I'm assuming. I'm not sure. I didn't see any polls on Florida, but I'm assuming DeSantis is up in Florida.
Yeah, that's crazy. I haven't heard DeSantis being even close to Trump anywhere. So
He's number two.
for you,
He's number two. Period. Like if
yeah,
I
but
think
it's a
Trump,
distant. Yeah, he's number two, but he's a distant second.
as of the indictment, yes, but before the indictment, it was very close.
Yeah. So speaking of the indictment, let me ask you this, which is the subject for the program. Do you think at the end of the day, Trump is going to survive all of the legal challenges facing him? This is just step one. This is by no means the last time he's going to be arrested.
I think they're just throwing things on the wall and seeing what sticks. They don't know if this is going to work, but it's a shot in the dark. If it works, hey, we got him. If it doesn't, oh well, that's just Trump. Teflon.
Yeah. But if you suggest that they're throwing things against the wall to see what stick, do you think that he actually done this stuff or they're making stuff up?
I believe he gave the money. How they're saying he gave the money, I don't believe that. Because didn't he fund his own campaign, if I remember correctly?
No. Trump has been collecting money since day one. What he did do is not took a salary. He didn't take what is it, $500,000 to be president? That's what they get paid.
Oh
He
yeah,
didn't take that over 4 years.
400,000. That's correct. I remember that
Yeah.
about when he was running the first. I ain't talking about 2020. The first time he ran, didn't he say he's funding his own campaign?
Well, if he did, he lied. I mean, I've been on Trump's campaign text message list from day one. He has
Okay.
always been soliciting money. He
Okay.
never turned down no money.
I'm not gonna say he wasn't soliciting money. Any candidate would, even if you're doing your own money. I'm saying if he was using his own money and collecting campaign funds, how do you prove that he didn't use his own money to pay her off? And if he did do that, what's the problem? If he
Yeah.
used his own
Well,
money.
that's a good point, but the problem is you got Michael Cohen in there, his lawyer of 20 years. Now, I understand Michael Cohen's credibility is shot because he did go to jail for lying. Nevertheless, Michael Cohen actually kept the paperwork, the documents from the transaction, and he has Trump in an audio recording discussing this. So even with Michael Cohen being completely discredited, the paperwork don't lie.
I don't know if they can use the recording, but yes, the paperwork doesn't lie. That's very true. The
Now,
recording
yeah,
has to be.
in regards to
Yeah.
the recording, I don't know what the law is in New York because some states, both parties have to be in agreement to a recording, and in some states, only one party has to be, so I don't know what
That's
New
correct,
York
right?
is
I
on
don't
that,
know
but
New York's. Yeah, I don't know what New York is, but Alabama, that this other person you're recording has to know that they're being recorded.
yeah.
Unless you got a warrant or something to, what I'm saying, secretly record for the police or something like that, or FBI or something like that. But other than that, I don't know New York's law, so I can't speak on it. I don't even know where they
Right.
were when the recording was made. They could have been in the state where that is allowed. So I don't even know.
That is
So
true. That is true.
yeah.
It's kind of like this call is being recorded for quality insurance, where they have to let you know. But
Exactly
at the
right.
end,
Exactly.
but at the end of the day, they claim they have 30 charges on him. So clearly, paying off a porn star is not the only charge.
Well, a lot of charges mean, as I say, that's the throwing the stuff at the wall, seeing what sticks. If you had a
Yeah.
charge, you charge them with that. You don't charge them all them other charges.
What if they could show he is actually guilty of a felony? Would that change your tune towards this guy?
I never voted for him in the first place. It wouldn't change my tune one
Oh,
so bit. I vote libertarian. So whatever happens to Trump, it happens to Trump. Whatever happens to Biden, happens to Biden. They both had the
it's a fair point.
documents. We're still. You see how that went away, though. You see how that went away.
What do you mean?
Once Biden said he had documents too, they don't care about documents anymore. All they
No,
care
that
about is
has not. Wait. No, that has not went away. That
for
Merrick
Biden.
Garland document case is still. In fact, they just released some more information to suggest that not only did Trump know he had the documents, they apparently have evidence to show he was stirring around in them. That just came out this week. So no, that case has not went away.
I'm not talking about towards Trump. I'm talking about Biden's documents.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah,
case
you
did go
see,
away.
you
Yeah,
see what I mean?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
When I said documents, you went straight to Trump. I was talking about Biden's documents.
That
But you
is
see how
true.
that went away,
Well,
though.
because you're gonna hear more about Trump because Trump, out of all of them that have had documents, and it wasn't just Biden and Trump, there are other presidents. Trump is the one that's been charged with it. So anytime you start talking about documents, yeah, the conversation is going to go straight to Trump.
That's true. Here's the issue: Biden had his longer than Trump had
Yeah,
his.
yeah, yeah.
So I
I don't.
deem that as worse.
Well,
But
what about this? Let's say, for instance, Biden had his longer than Trump, obviously because he's been around politics longer. But they notified Trump, we need these documents back. Whereas Biden is claiming he didn't know, and Trump, although he knew, was being deliberately resistant.
did you say Biden didn't know? You have to request those documents. He did know.
They said he had documents since the 1970s. I don't know
Oh
what they
yeah.
were doing back then.
Well, yeah. I'm pretty sure he was using them to his advantage at the time, and he
Could be,
probably did
could be,
forget to put them
could
back.
be.
He didn't forget that he had them. He forgot to put them back.
So you think that's worse than President Trump stating he does not have documents and deliberately, potentially, deliberately lying in regards to whether he had them or not, being resistant to give them back?
I think that's just as bad. But to me, Biden going on there saying you fumble when you take classified documents, then find out you have them too, is like maybe I should
Yeah.
have said anything about it. It was like when he brought up the children in cages during the debates. You and Obama's administration built those cages. Why would you even bring that up?
Yeah, good point. Good point. I will tell you this, in my humble opinion, even though I believe Trump is guilty of what they're charging him with, I believe it is politically motivated. I believe that if Trump was an upstanding politician, most of this stuff he would not be dealing with any of this stuff. I believe it's because he creates so many enemies, they're coming at him with whatever they got. It would be just like if you got pulled over by police. Maybe they're pulling you over because you ran through a stop sign or something, and that's the only thing they're going to address. But if you start being an asshole, now they're ticketing you for the treads on your tire or for tents, they're going to find other stuff because of how you are acting. That's why I believe Trump is facing this, but I do believe it's political.
It's definitely political because, and this is not popular, Biden didn't beat Trump. COVID did. And that's what
Okay.
the Biden administration knows. There is no COVID this time. And if he faced Trump again, he's afraid he's going to lose because number one, the economy looks bad. It's all about perception. The economy looks bad. And the
Wait,
what's it
but
called?
wait a minute. Wait a
What's
minute.
it called?
You're saying Biden knows that if he faces Trump, he may lose. Are you blaming
More,
the charges that are being levied on Trump on Biden? You think Biden's responsible for what
oh
he's
no no
going through?
no! It's Trump's. It's definitely Trump's enemies. He's no hero to the Democratic Party. If I'm a Democratic
Right.
Party, I'm gonna do everything I can to destroy his image, which he can do it by himself anyway. I don't even know why they're even involved. They could have just left him alone. But they turned him into a victim, and now he's coming out as a hero. So
What
now,
about him? What
now
about the
it's a
fact that
spectacle.
what about the fact that even before walking into court, he has already criticized the judge and called him biased? How do you view that?
He does that all the time. That is nothing new. Even when
Yeah,
he
but
was president,
just because
the
it ain't
judge.
just because you get high all the time doesn't mean it's a good idea to take drugs. I get that he
That's
does
true.
it all the time, but how do you view it?
When he was in office and that judge didn't go, the court case didn't go his way. He criticized that judge because the judge was Hispanic. He criticized him that way. I thought that was wrong, and I think it's wrong for him to do it now. But that's
Okay,
what
fair
he
enough.
does. That's what he does.
Yeah,
That's what this is the essence of what some people, even though they support him, do not like about him.
yeah. I don't disagree with that, but I gotta move it on, Farlow. Appreciate you coming in here.
No, no problem. Thank you.
Hey, good talk, good talk. All right, let me folks, just hang on a second.
No,
Apparently, I have something else
got
running in the
about an
background that I
hour
need
sleep.
to cancel because it's
And
interfering with
then
what we're doing here. Hopefully, I'm back on. Damn device. Okay. Tap your screen, get your boy up to 10,000 likes. I do appreciate 1,000 of you in here. I will go straight to the box. The program is and always will remain MAGA friendly. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome, but MAGA is my preferred guest. Early on a day like today when MAGA is all over the damn television. All right, George Soros paid for this. How do you know? Who the hell does so much monitoring of George Soros' finances? Anything that George Soros deals with is automatically assumed to be tainted. Bragg, the guy that's going after Trump in New York, apparently belongs to a group that George Soros donated money to. So they're tying Soros to Bragg. I don't know anybody else on earth that's more hated in America for right wingers than George Soros. He comes up all the time. I don't know. Do you see what's going on in Tennessee? They're making America again. No, I'm not. I'm not aware of what's going on in Tennessee. Feel free to let me know. I'm going to go right back to the box though to keep the program moving. Rainy Kane. Talking to Rainy. Good afternoon, Rainy. Welcome back. What are we doing in this
Hello.
country?
We're living in a daily soap opera, man. This as the day. What's that? I don't know. Young and the Restless. That's what's happening here. We're a joke right now.
Well, as they
I just
used to
want to
say,
get. I just
go
wanted to
ahead.
comment 'cause I know you got a lot of followers. I just wanted to jump in really quick. Your last caller was talking about the documents and how that case went away so fast
Right,
for
right.
Biden. To me, it didn't go away fast. Biden was persecuted by everybody. CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, all of them. And it wasn't until Vice President Pence his documents came as a revelation
Yeah,
that everybody
yeah.
was like, oh, I guess everybody is taking documents. And I also want to just clarify too, when you leave office, you don't pack your own stuff. You got assistants and aides and secretaries and stuff. So I don't know that Biden requested anything. I just wanted to see clarity on that. Today is just another shit show. I'm so sick of Donald Trump. I just wish he would go away.
So let me ask you this though. Let me ask you this. At the end of the day, with Trump facing obviously what he's dealing with in New York, I strongly believe he's going to be indicted and arrested down in Georgia. Merrick Garland may get him for either the documents you're talking about or the January 6th case. But I don't believe this is Trump's last arrest. Do you think he will survive all of this shit at the end of the day?
Yeah. And you know what? When you say survive, you mean like by his voters?
Like without let's start out when I say survive. Before we talk about whether he'll remain a candidate, how about surviving without having an official criminal record, without being convicted of any of this?
Oh, I told you I don't think any jury will convict him. There's always one MAGA on every jury, right? And if you require all 12 jurors to get the conviction, Donald Trump will never be arrested. I mean, he will never get convicted in my opinion. I live in
Mm.
that
So
reality. I
you
think
do
it's all a waste.
so you do buy into the shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue, they still won't convict me type deal.
Absolutely. And like he
Wow.
said, he won't lose a single voter. I believe it. Look at his voters. They don't care. This man
Yeah.
literally tried to overthrow the government. They don't care.
Well, I won't say he won't lose a single voter because Liz Cheney and some of those folks certainly voted for Trump before. But there's a lot of folks. Mike Pence has made it clear he don't think Trump should be leading the country, and clearly he voted for him. So he has lost voters, just not as many as we might think or assume. I mean, he has maintained a hell of a lot of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I think his voters, again, they don't care. When you stop caring about what's right and not that you have a criminal for a president, somebody who was indicted or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah.
literally don't care. I think these people are insane. But anyway, I know you got callers. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Absolutely a pleasure. And by the way, folks, tap the screen, get your boy up to 15,000 likes. Simultaneously, if I can get my audio going, I am simultaneously watching what is taking place on ABC. So the arrest is actually about to happen now. So because they just interrupted the main network. So they literally just interrupted all of the shows, special report. They ran the banner and things like that. So he should be walking out. If I can play some of that, I will let you guys hear it. But
It's like atmosphere. The
let's
camera
see
right
what
there,
they're
though,
saying real
trending
quick.
at
We'll go
Trump
back to the
Tower.
box.
The former president expected to emerge at any moment. Now, in the courtroom, we also know it's believed there will be still cameras to capture images right before the proceedings. The first president, former or current, to ever face criminal charges. The former president spent the night.
All right, let's keep it moving. Army vet coming back to the. Oh, this is crazy.
What's
Where
up,
were
bro?
you when the president got arrested? Good afternoon, Army vet.
Listen, man, I'm sitting up here on vacation looking at this shit show, man. And the bottom line with this guy is he's gonna drag it out. He's gonna raise a whole bunch of money off of it. At the end of the day, he's got a solid 30% of the Republican base that is always going to vote for him no matter what. And then once he wins the primary, if he's allowed to continue, then the other Republicans that really don't like him will probably just fall in line anyway, and he'll get another 70 million, but he'll still lose to Biden. That's just the bottom line.
Okay,
This is
but let me ask you this because this is coming in the comments. Smushy, somebody. The bottom line is we now have started targeting our political enemies. Do you see where President Trump is literally being targeted through the criminal justice system by his adversaries?
guess one. Here's one thing I know for sure: criminals get targeted. So they can call it political or whatever they want to call it. You know what I'm saying? You commit a crime or you're suspected of committing a crime, then you can be indicted just like anybody else. Now, he will have his day in court and he can get found guilty or not guilty, but he must have his day in court. He's presumed innocent
Yeah.
at this point, but all the people that's pissing in their pants about him having to go through the process, they're just a piece of shit cult, and they just can't stand that their cult leader has to go through the process like everybody else, so they can take their bucket of conservative tears and go have a drinking party and watch the process go forward.
So what about this? Brett in the comments. I see a lot of libs are fed up with Democrats and ready to vote for Trump. Do you see President Trump as accumulating Democratic voters because of what's going on right now? Us
No, not
folks
at
on the
all,
left
bro.
that are looking at
No,
Trump as being mistreated and saying, you know what, I'm gonna
no.
go vote for that guy.
No. Look,
Yeah, I
this is
don't.
this is what they do, man. They go, listen, there are so many conservative pages and Trump loving pages that they can go to and be amongst their own and feel good. But they keep coming to pages like this, and then they just throw a bunch of shit out there to see if it's going to stick to enough Democrats to say, you know what, maybe this troll with the fake account is actually right. User 556677 actually made a point. Get the fuck out of
But
here. That's
wait a minute
crazy.
though. But wait a minute. You said maybe they come here and just throw out and see what sticks. Isn't that what they're accusing us of doing to Trump? Throwing whatever you can at him. I just had a caller state that. I just had a libertarian state that we're throwing at Trump No, just throwing the gamut at them and seeing what charge will stick.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? If you take, let's just say the DEA when it goes after a drug dealer, it will sit back, it would take evidence a little at a time and say, okay, we now have enough to build a case. That's what happened to Trump. He did something, they looked at it, they said, well, right now we don't have enough, but we'll look into it. And the more they looked, the more they found. And then it got to a point where they say, you know what? I think we got enough to indict him, but let's put this towards a grand jury and let the grand jury decide on that evidence.
What about 7 years? 7 years it took to charge him with this. You don't see anything shaky about that? 7 years.
Listen, I'm going to tell you from this standpoint, man. Do you know how long that the federal government went after Scarface, right? In Chicago. And the only way they was able to get him
Yeah.
was through tax evasion, right? So
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah.
here's the thing that people don't
Yeah.
understand with the federal government, right? The federal government only has a short period of time to take you to court once an indictment comes down. So they have to make sure they have a rock solid case that they cannot lose, and the federal government is damn near undefeatable. And so they're not going to
Mm.
come until they actually have enough that they feel like, I don't care who's sitting on that jury, we got enough to convict him on X, Y, Z. So they can sit here and cry about it and say they've been after him since this, that, and the other. That's just talking points. And they can keep on crying and sit
La-
back and enjoy
Last,
watching him
last
get
question.
fingerprinted.
Okay, I do got to move it on, but before I let you go, last question. If President Trump was not acting the way he normally does, or let's say he was not currently running for president again, do you think these charges will still be happening? Even if he'd done
Yes.
it?
Yes, the only reason, listen, when's the last time you heard anybody announce they were running for president this early? It doesn't happen. The only reason
Yeah.
he announced that is so that he can sit here and say, now there is political. They just don't want me to run against Biden because I'll win. Nobody, look, 2024 is when we're voting. This dude is announced in 2022, 2021 or some shit like that. I'm just saying he's just doing it just because he knows his followers going to send him a boatload of money to protect him because they're in a cult. That's all there is to it. I'm going to go back and enjoy this beach, and I'll be listening to you.
Absolutely a pleasure. Appreciate you coming through, Army Vet. As always, we will keep the program moving. Appreciate tuning in on this historic day. But tap the screen, get your boy up to 30,000 likes. We got 900 plus of you in here. Real quick, I'm sure all of you are watching this shit, but nevertheless, so am I. That is an air shot of the presidential convoy, I believe, from the Trump Towers to the jail. Can't believe I'm saying this, but to the jail is about 4 miles. So there's a 4 mile trip through the streets of New York.
Describes that will unfold in Lower Manhattan just moments from now. For those of you joining us, this is ABC News live coverage of what is history in the making. Never before have we seen a president, former or current, criminally.
Where is the white Bronco? I see that in the comments also, Army Vet. It does remind you, for us old enough, remember the O.J. Simpson the slow chase on the highway? It does kind of remind you of that because you're not just watching a bunch of cars. You're watching a alleged criminal being escorted to the jail. He'll be in there quickly. He'll be quickly arraigned, not guilty or whatever. But you are watching an alleged criminal. Nevertheless, let's go back to the comments. Wouldn't it have been kind of funny if you had rented a white Bronco to... Let me stop. All right, going back to the comments. We will keep it moving. There's a hell of a lot of you guys in here. I do appreciate that. I'll try to get to you as many as I can. I think Jamie was in here, Pizzini. Back to the program. That's an OJ shot. Yeah, it certainly is. It does remind. I mean, the front police car leading the convoy is a white car. It's not a Bronco. I think it's a police car. Jamie, good afternoon.
Hey, what's happening? Listen, I got some advice for you. You should invest
Sure.
today in Domino Sugar because they are putting extra sugar in the orange Kool-Aid all week long to make sure it is strong enough to overcome this nonsense. This is great stuff right here.
But
I
wait a
gotta
minute.
tell
You
you.
said nonsense. You said nonsense. Are you
Hell yeah,
suggesting
this
that
is
the charges
nonsense.
are
But listen,
nonsense?
man, listen. He could have done this shit on the side He could have. They would have went in. They offered. I think I heard you say it earlier. They offered to do this in the middle of the night,
Yep.
and he is doing this because
Yep.
he believes this is a parade for him. Like this is hilarious. I just can't get over the fact
So
that someone
let,
lost by
let
the
me ask
most
you
votes
this.
ever. Go ahead.
Let me ask you, give me your humble opinion. What are the chances you think that he is in the car watching his own coverage?
100%. There is not a question
Yeah.
in my mind that this guy, and I guarantee you something else. He probably has a bag of McDonald's and Burger King in the car with him right now. There's no doubt in my mind he's eating some rotten ass fast food. And it's funny because you keep saying something, and I don't know if it's a Freudian slip, but you keep asking if he's going to survive, and I got to be honest with you.
Yes.
If he was my grandpa, let's say I care about him, okay? What's that? Oh, thanks,
Okay.
man. Come on, buddy. He's a little scared. So if he was my grandpa and I cared about him, there is no way I'm believing on his diet he is going to survive much longer. Like I'm not even just talking
Oh,
about his age.
you mean health wise? You mean actually like perish?
Yes. You can't tell me that if you look at him, and I don't mean when they Photoshop him, I'm saying when you look at him and he's walking around and what he's eating, that his doctor is telling him he's going to live a lot longer. Like I have elderly relatives that are not as obese as he is, and they are telling them that if they don't watch what they eat, they're not going to live another few years. So I
But
mean,
what
just this.
about well, wait a minute. What about the notion for many on the right that would suggest Biden is the one that has dementia and might not survive a second term?
Hey,
Are you suggesting that Trump is not as healthy as Biden?
no, I'm telling you, I don't think either one of them might make it. Like
Damn.
just look, man, we got to start being honest with ourselves. We're talking about people that we wouldn't let control the remote control. These people cannot set their own televisions up, and they're running our country. Like, when are we going to get past that idea? We're talking about which one's worse. They're both horrible. Like, there's no way these guys have a real understanding of how the world works anymore. You know what I mean? They still call people those people, and you heard how he talks about Jewish people. Oh, the guys with the yarmulkes on there. Like that's not normal talk anymore. And I'm not that much younger than. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm in my late 40s, but I'm saying, like, I don't even know if I could run the world. Like, we're talking about this,
Mm.
this is a young
But
man's game.
at the end of the day, do you think that, because I'm hearing folks suggesting that what's going on with Trump, he's actually gained supporters. Do you think this is actually helping him?
Well, I would. Okay, I don't believe he's actually gaining supporters, but I do believe that this is going to get his supporters riled up, which is exactly what they need. They have to stay fiery. They got to stay fired up just so they can keep moving forward. And I mean, it takes a serious amount of mental gymnastics to be the law and order party, and the people that care about people committing crimes, and the same people that say just comply and everything will be okay. Just do whatever the police say, and then at the same time be okay with them attacking police in his name, and then now they're going to discredit the police in his name. This is a really rough one. And before I get, because I always get hung up on rants, but one of the things you said earlier, you were talking about people are talking about how this is political. Well, I agree that it's political because it's a political crime, but when you want to talk about something that actually gets prosecuted or not, this case, that the one they're talking about, has been charged 20 times in New York over the last 25 or 30 years. This is not an uncommon crime.
Yeah, but Jamie, we're talking seven. But Jamie, we're talking 7 years. If they really wanted this man, you really don't see any issue with it taking 7 years to do this.
Well, I think I said this before, man. At least 4 of those years, you're talking about him being the current president, and they couldn't do it. Like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
or I don't know if it's
But
illegal,
then
but
they could have, if they wanted to, yeah, if they wanted to avoid trying to do it while he was president, it still should have happened by now.
well, yeah, look, man, I'm never going to be one to talk about how fast the government moves. I'm in an immigration case right now, and they doubled the times. So, like, just to let you know, like, my fiance was supposed to come here within 5 to 7 months, and now they're telling us it could take up to 16 and a half months. The government is not a fast moving
What
thing.
country? Quick,
Philippines.
before I move it on, what country is she coming from?
Philippines.
Yeah, that's interesting because I know, like I lived in Australia, so I've been through immigration, and yeah, it's not a quick process. I
No,
mean, I
man,
went
it
for
takes forever.
residency and things like that.
And it's very expensive.
Yeah,
It's not something that the average person wants to go through. And I believe that like, just to hit that subject real quick. But if you want to improve the way we do things with legal immigration, if you're one of those people that believes in that kind of stuff, I'm here to tell you, as somebody that's going through it, it is very expensive and it takes a very long time.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about young people in love, I'm telling you, they will jump the border in a hot second. So, like,
Wait, but
we got
is
to
it
improve that.
possible? Is it possible you're facing resistance because your potential wife is coming from a quote unquote shithole country?
Absolutely. And what, one of the things about that is they're the number one source of fiance visas to the United States in the world. So this is not something
Damn,
we
there's some
don't have
hot chicks
experience
over
with.
there. It
It's
must be some hotties over there.
Oh yes,
Shit.
they are, and it's almost 2 to 1, and it's because it used to be an American territory, and a lot of U.S. servicemen, get wives from there and stuff like that. That's very normal. They love us over there. It's not, to marry an American is a prized thing in that country, and that's just the way it is. So,
So in other words, the women over there treating us men like we want to be treated, treating like you worthy of a good catch.
100%. But that's not to say that they're pushovers, because they remind me a lot of my old Italian family. Because if you get out of line, they will snap on you. So it's not that,
Oh
but
shit.
you do,
Right.
but it is the old school role, or they do work and stuff like that. But it is the old school man and woman role. You're going to see that kind of stuff, and if that's what you like or that's what you're into, then that's probably a good
I
place to
think
go.
you may have just sold me on a trip to Manila, but I gotta move it on.
I'm
Appreciate you
going there,
coming
and
in here.
I'm going there in 3 weeks, man. Let me
All
know.
right, good luck, man. Good luck. All right, looking fascists for Trump. I don't know. That's pretty harsh. That's pretty harsh. Let's see what's going on. Donald Trump, of course, has faced all sorts the motorcade has arrived at the jail. Now, folks, this is a regular jail, so you got regular, drab, depressed people in this place. Now, obviously, they're going to take them in through a different entrance, but the motorcade has arrived, so this is crazy. Anyway, let me continue going back to the box. Tap the screen. Get your boy up to 40,000 likes. I appreciate that. You could be anywhere you want to be on TikTok on this historic day, but the fact that you're here with your boys, an honor as always. The program is and will remain MAGA friendly without any fear of being banned, censored, or blocked. You don't have to agree with the host. Who gives a damn? Going back to the box, we'll keep it moving with DJ Magic Stick. My boy 52 is in there. All right. Type of civil dialogue from both sides of the aisle without fear of censorship. Yeah, follow the program. Helps out the algorithms. DJ, what the hell is going on a day like today?
It's a great day. It's a beautiful day. Beautiful
I'm
day.
taking it the weather is good in your part of the country. Is it because the weather's good?
No, it's because Trump committed crimes for over a decade and he's starting to face charges on him. Hell, he's got lawsuits
Will
and
he be convicted?
criminal charges since the 70s. Huh?
But do you think, what are the chances he will actually be convicted for any of this? We had Rainey on earlier who stated that there is going to be at least one MAGA on every jury. Having said that, what are the chances he will be convicted for any of this stuff?
They can vet people where they don't have one single Trump supporter on there. They can vet. Believe me, they can look at they got ways to look into people's lives and find out. So that's
How can
not
you vet out?
that will
How
not
can you
happen.
vet out every right winger though? You can't. How can you possibly vet out every Republican?
Well, you got a list of how many whether it's 12, I think there's 12 or 20. You can vet 20 people very easily. You can, because they
You
leave a
think?
trail behind
Wait a
since you
minute.
got
Wait a
the
minute.
internet.
But wait a minute. In a Trump trial, you think it's only going to be 20 people? It'll probably be 1,000 potential jurors.
No, I never seen a juror pool that big. The most I've seen was
You
20.
wait a minute.
My
You
wife just got
never,
off one and it was 12.
dude. This ain't your wife. This is the former president. You've never seen a jury that big. You've never seen a former president
No.
facing charges. It's not going to be the same.
Yeah, but Yeah, but you don't need that many jurors on a. You don't need that many jurors. They got a certain amount of jurors for each case, and
I
so
don't know.
they'll vet the jury. They'll vet it, and Trump's this is snowball effect for Trump, because once one charge sticks, it's all the other charges start sticking. He's got over 3,900 charges right now that's been built up since the 70s. He's still got cases in the
What?
80s that he's been repealing. Yeah, he's got cases right now since the 80s because he's got rich people. They can push back court cases, repeal it and
That,
push it back.
wait.
He can push. Trump can
Let's
push.
not
Yeah,
go into the deep
yeah,
end. Wait, hold on. Let's not go into the deep end of the pool. All of that
yeah.
stuff is not going to amount to anything. We're talking about this right here in New York. We're talking about Merrick Garland on a federal level and what's taking place in Georgia. All them cases you're talking about, that stuff's not going to go anywhere.
Well, he's got money laundering case since 2014 with New York that they
Yeah.
haven't charged him with. They got several because Trump did some dicey business in New York that they've been trying to get him on. You know, he like the properties. He kept on raising the prices of properties, saying it's worth this when they're not. He's been doing that for a whole time. He's got several lawsuits of just that from the 90s and up
Right.
that he keeps on pushing back.
Yeah, I don't.
Because as a
I
rich
think. Yeah, I
person,
think.
how normal?
Yeah,
As
he's
a
not going
rich
to go down for
person,
any.
they're allowed.
By the way, folks, I'm
Yeah.
hearing as of 12:24, 4 minutes ago, he has officially been arrested. I don't know for certain, but that's what I'm hearing. That as of 12:24, the former president has officially been arrested. Appreciate that TikTok cap. Okay, DJ, I think you're going at them for too many things, but I gotta move it on. Appreciate you coming in here, man.
All right. All right. Peace.
Absolute. All right, looking in the comments. Okay, they ranking 90s baby becomes president. There is no shortage of people that believe President Trump will be on a mission of vengeance. If you were afraid of Trump, you would do what Lindsey Graham has done. You would do what Ron DeSantis is doing. You would do what Mike Pence is doing, which is they are speaking in regards to Trump from a very cautionary tale. Both Lindsey Graham and Mike Pence were present on January 6th and alluded to they thought their lives were in danger. Mike Pence and Lindsey Graham have both blamed President Trump for what happened. But when you look at them now in 2023 and they speak in regards to Trump, they are very measured in their tone. They are very hesitant to criticize Trump. That is what you do when you are scared of somebody. You are afraid of what their power will do to your political career and possibly what their supporters will do to your life. That's what you do when you're scared of somebody. Going back to the box, it is Pendejo. By the way, folks, always green. Appreciate you guys rolling with your boy. Pence has said this is exactly. Exactly. Hang on a second, Pendejo. Dimebag, you said Pence has said this is a witch hunt. That is true. But when you got somebody out there that you believe put your life in jeopardy, which Mike Pence has said about Trump on January 6th, why the hell would you come to his aid and say he's been involved in a witch hunt when just a year or so ago you thought he was trying to get you killed? Good afternoon, Pendejo.
It's because they'll say anything at any given time. That's the reason. I just wanted to clarify something, though. I think you're doing an
Sure.
injustice to the timeline. I think that,
How so?
because, Cohen was receiving payments 2 years into the presidency, and then they took him to court. So all that all that stuff has got to get played out, and so they had to wait till the end of his presidency, and then they could, they started interviewing people. So it's only a couple of years. It's not a 7-year-old crime. He did the crime 7 years ago, but the investigation had to begin after his presidency. So
I
that's an
get your point.
unjust
I get your point.
timeline.
But let me ask you this though. Do you believe any former president that done exactly what Trump is being alleged of here would have been facing charges?
He's already he's in an indictment. He's individual number
That ain't
one.
what I'm asking you though. What I'm asking you is this: because of how Trump acts, his brash, bombastic nature, the tweets, the insulting rhetoric, and making so many enemies like he does. I mean, hell, he's already criticized the judge before even showing up to court. Do you believe that because of how he acts and who he is, the very nature of Trump makes him more likely to be charged with a crime that somebody else might get a pass on?
Well, Mr. Trump has got problems, of course, other problems. Could you repeat that question to me again, sir? I didn't get that.
Do you think Trump's actions, the way he runs his mouth, makes enemies and insults people,
Oh, yeah.
may be responsible for why he's getting charged for a crime somebody else might get a pass on?
But, sir, yes, I do. Yes, I do, to the answer to the question. But could
Okay.
you explain to me how this is political? When, if you say it's political, you're talking about some kind of conspiracy. You're talking about that
Well,
Biden
it's
went.
political. The moment you said yes to the question I just asked you, is you confirming it's political. You're confirming they're going after Trump for specific reasons related to Trump himself, which is his
They.
mouth, which is him
Explain
attacking
they.
people.
Explain they. That's the big crux there. It's always the left, them, they. Who are they? Mr. James, the district
They
attorney, was
they
it the
are
DNC?
enemies.
Was it the DNC? Was it
Yeah.
Joe Biden? Was it Nancy Pelosi?
No.
Who are
Let me
they?
answer that. Let me answer in regards to they. They represents enemies of President Trump. They represent people that Trump has tried to attack or associates of people that Trump has tried to attack. For instance, Trump has attacked Liz Cheney's dad, Dick Cheney, attacked the entire Bush administration. So Liz Cheney is not a friend of Trump. Same thing with John McCain. Trump attacked John McCain, which is many suggest why the Republicans lost Arizona. Trump is created enemies all over the damn place. And that's what I'm talking about when I say it's political, is your enemies are now coming at you for stuff that they may have otherwise looked the other way.
But they didn't have anything to do with the indictment. It was a grand jury that
That ain't what
indicted
I'm
Mr.
saying.
Trump.
Let me clarify it. If Trump was not making so many enemies in the state of New York, remember, Trump was a very highly respected figure in the city of New York, owned a hell of a lot of properties and businesses. If Trump was doing the same shit he did now, or he's being accused of now, back in the 70s and 80s when his dad and him ran the city, they would have looked the other way. So when I say they, I mean even the city of New York. He has fallen afoul with the city of New York to the point now where they are prosecuting him for something that 20 years ago they probably would have looked the other way.
Well, the city of New York has always known that he was a thief. They've always considered
And
him
they were
that.
looking the other way. Right. And they were looking the other way back then.
But how can that be political if you're talking about a conspiracy? How can one district attorney be the representation of the DNC, of his enemies in Florida, his enemies in DC, his enemies in New York? I just don't get it. Who is the enemy? You say they. It's just too vague.
They,
You know, he
I
broke the
keep
law.
telling you,
He broke the law. Period. You know what I'm saying? He's been breaking the law
you
for a
don't
long
think
time.
You don't think in a heavily mafia-run city like New York, where Trump was one of the biggest developers in that city, you don't think he broke and skirted laws throughout the 70s and 80s? They were looking the other way. All of a sudden, he runs afoul, attacking all of the politicians and the governors of New York. Now, all of a sudden, they're no longer looking the other way.
Yeah, but I just can't get with. So okay, he made an enemy in upstate New York, and now in Manhattan, he made another. It can't be they. It just can't be
Okay.
political. He
I,
broke
I,
the law in
I
Manhattan.
can't. Okay. Let me give you another example. Maybe I'm getting the pronouns wrong. We can argue with that, with the they thing. But here's another issue. After the election in 2020, Trump claimed that the state of Georgia had been stolen and given to Biden instead of him. He criticized Governor Kemp in the state of Florida in regards to how the election was ran. They allowed him to get recounts and audits and things like that, but he still remained heavily critical of Governor Kemp in Georgia, up to and including endorsing the other candidate, even suggesting that Stacey Abrams, an African-American Democrat, might be a better choice than Kemp. I would submit to you, Governor Kemp, who is a well-respected governor in Georgia, is currently an enemy of President Trump. And guess where he's likely to be indicted next? The state of Georgia. That's what I'm saying when I say they. And Kemp is a Republican, by the way.
But he broke the law, so he's going to get a
I
charge.
get that. That ain't what we arguing about, whether he broke the law or not. We arguing about whether folks would look the other way under normal circumstances, but now because they consider you to be an enemy, they're not going to give you a pass and charge you.
Is there anyone else in the world, in the United States, that's been indicted on campaign finance? So if there's anybody else that has been, then he has to be accountable too. You know what I'm saying? If he twisted the law, he's a big shot. You know, he was trying to save a little bit of money, you know, and he got busted. You know what I'm saying? His intelligence is really low. So he just, you know, did what he felt. You know, I mean,
all right.
I'll let you go though. I know you're getting tired of me, man, because we're arguing about the same thing, man. But I gotta give you props though.
Listen, yeah, appreciate it. And listen, you always welcome back, man. You don't ever worry about having a disagreement with me. I invite you to come on, and if you hear something that I'm saying that you feel is bullshit, call it out. I'm not going to disrespect you or ban you for your opinion. So come on back through anytime, man.
Yeah, I thought the timeline was bullshit,
right.
So I tried to bring that to your attention. That's all. But anyways,
fair enough.
Hey man, much props, man. Many good thoughts. You have a good one.
You too. Appreciate you coming through. All right, looking in the comments, and appreciate a spirited debate. As I say oftentimes on the program, if this is what you like, dialogue from both sides of the aisle, civilized. Nobody has to agree with anybody. Nobody's being forced to give an opinion in a manner that the host wants. Follow the program. That's what we do here, by the way. All right, looking in the comments before I keep moving on. If your lawyer gets charged for a as far as I'm concerned, but what they're trying to do is discredit the testimony of Michael Cohen. They're trying to say Michael Cohen is just a blatant liar. Obviously, it goes back to the same statement I often make. If Trump is such a great candidate for 2024, remember he promised to surround himself with the best and brightest. We have to ask the question, why are so many people associated with Trump, folks that he brought in his inner circle? We're not talking about some, snake oil salesman. We're talking about people that Trump actually went out and got and brought into his inner circle. You know any folks that have been discredited, disbarred, or actually thrown in prison? He's probably got a half a dozen or more people, from the Steve Bannons to the Flynn's. Why are so many people that associate with Trump going to jail? Is it all a witch hunt? Are all of these people innocent? And the justice system just making this up against all of these people? I don't know, but we've had other presidents in history that we disliked. And this is unprecedented in regards to how many people that surround this one guy continues to go down. And my guess is that number is not over with yet. They are the best and brightest criminals. Who said that? I can't see. Lyric, appreciate that. Looks like there's still a lot of melee on the outside of the courthouse there in New York, but I'm not able to watch it. If some of you folks are seeing something interesting, I am paying attention to the comments. Let me know what's going on. In the comments, Bionic Man Keith points his son, a congressperson in New York, Jesse Jackson Jr., actually went to jail for it. I do remember that because I was in the area at the time. So did John Edwards. Senator John Edwards got in trouble for it. There's a host of people that have went down for that. So it is what it is. Looking in the comments, so they are targeted. Yeah, where there's smoke, there's fire, and it all surrounds Trump. Appreciate that, Teddy. Yeehaw! Had mustache. I don't get the gifts often, but I always love when I do. 52 cents. Welcome to the program. Always good to hear from 52. What's going on, man? What are we doing in this country today?
Well, two callers ago, DJ, whatever his name is, summed it up. He summed
DJ
up.
Magic Stick. What do you think?
You asked him, don't you think there's going to be one MAGA supporter on the jury? And
Yes, I did ask that.
his response was the typical witch hunt response. Well, they are highly vetted, so we can pretty much assure that there won't be one, is basically what he said.
And I made it clear that I didn't agree with that. There's going to be a potential thousand. But the question I asked him in return is, how can you be sure there's no Republican on a jury? I don't even know if you can legally do that.
Well, of course you can't. And just asking that
Yeah.
question shows that this is a witch hunt.
Give me your definition of a witch hunt. I'm hearing that term a lot. Give me your definition of a witch hunt facing Trump. What do you mean when you say witch hunt?
It's like a guy who robs a convenience store. They don't get him for just robbing a convenience store. We're going to tack on that he had a weapon, that he held somebody hostage, so he kidnapped. They pile on all these bogus charges, just praying that one of them will stick. And that's all they need is
You
one.
sure anybody? Well, think about it. If you believe, based on what said, that we're wrong, hell, meet me at the nearest prison to kill all these black men out. They do that to us all the damn time.
That's what I'm saying. It's a witch hunt.
Yeah.
And you would say the same thing about people that you know that have been arrested. They tack all this bogus crap on to all these things. That's why the whole legal system is a sham.
But I don't disagree totally that they do pile on charges. But the problem I have, and a lot of us African Americans have with this, is why all of a sudden did people actually start noticing this when it happened to Trump? All of the complaints that people are lodging about Trump, the system is unfair, witch hunt. We've been complaining about that stuff and getting beat over the head with a Blue Lives Matter flag the whole time. He ain't saying nothing that folks from Black Lives Matter and African Americans have not been saying about the justice system for a long time. We talked about defunding the police. We were told we were idiots. All of a sudden, Marjorie Taylor Greene says defund the feds, and it makes sense all of a sudden. Can you explain that?
No, I've been on your side with that. I watch all these criminal cases, and I see
if
all
you
the...
are on my side, you have no clones. You have zero clones. Where are the rest of you?
Well, no, I see everybody that goes to jail. They get charged with all this bogus crap. That's, if they can't get him on murder, let's get him on second-degree murder. If we can't get him on that, let's get him on manslaughter. If we can't get him on that, he jaywalked to get over there. I mean, come on.
Okay, let's go with your definition of witch hunt then. Let's say they're doing exactly what you're saying, and I do believe there may be some validity to they're going at them for every damn thing in the book. However, there are a hell of a lot of Americans that are serving time based on successful witch hunts, based on exactly what you're saying, where they
And
threw a
it's
bunch of
wrong.
charges. Hell, even Al Capone. But wait a minute. Even Al Capone ultimately went to jail for witch hunt style tax evasion. Why should Trump get a pass when so many Americans went down for this?
Did you hear me say Trump should get a pass? I said it was a witch hunt. I never said if you broke the law, you broke the law.
Do you think
you're going to figure out about me? Yeah, I support Trump, but if he legitimately broke the law, if these charges aren't pun intended trumped up, then he deserves some sort of punishment. But if he's a lawbreaker, he's a lawbreaker. It don't matter who you are.
So what do you think? So what do you think on your own, going on your gut, even though I do understand your opinion about witch hunts and things like that? Do you believe that any of the charges they're lobbying against him, do you actually believe he committed any crimes, or do you think they're making all this stuff up?
I don't think any of it is worthy of discussing, honestly. I don't care who he
Well, if
slept with.
campaign,
If I cared about who
no,
president slept with and who they paid off to keep it quiet, we wouldn't have Clinton. We wouldn't have had Kennedy. We wouldn't have had probably 90% of them.
but wait a minute, that's not how it works, though. I don't care if you go out and buy a hoe, but at the end of the day, prostitution is illegal. If he committed a crime, I'm asking you. I'm not asking you if you care about it, or not. I'm asking you, do you think he did it?
My question is, why is it illegal to give away something for free or to charge for something you can give away for free?
I'm not hating on that. I'm down with buying hoes all day, but right now it is a crime. It is a crime. Do you think he committed the crime?
It's a financial thing, so I don't know.
You ain't answering the question. You're not answering the question.
No,
Do
I
you think he
am.
committed an actual?
His charges are finance related. I don't know what his accounting was on it. Don't know.
No, the idea is that he paid campaign funds to hush this woman up in an illegal manner. Do you think he did that?
Oh, I don't care if he did or didn't.
That's not what we're asking you. I'm asking you, do you think he committed that crime? Not how you feel about it. There's a lot of folks that commit crimes, and we might see, like, hell, if you go out and kill a child molester, most of us are okay with it, but it is a crime to do it. Do you think he committed the crime?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Right. You made me drag that out of you. All right, 52.
Hey, I have one question.
Sure.
You were talking about going to Manila for a girl. Do you think you have enough vanilla to go to Manila?
I gotta go.
All right, Tim. Have a good day.
Good talk, man. You too. Always a pleasure. All right, looking in the comments, folks. I always love talking to 52. You know, me and 52 go way back. Tap the screen. Get your boy up to 50,000 likes. We can make it happen. 600 plus of us in here. It always helps out the algorithms, brings more MAGA to the program. He is the preferred guest here, but liberals are welcome as well. Haven't had a whole lot of MAGA now. My last caller was definitely MAGA, but I haven't had a lot of you folks. Maybe they're sitting around watching TV, or they're just too fed up to discuss what the hell is going on. Listen to real quick, give you a real quick spiel, and we'll continue on.
And on the flip side, in this case, they're looking to protect the former president, who now will face the judge as a criminal defendant. John Carl?
You know, Trump is familiar with this particular hallway because he watched Allen Weisselberg when he turned himself in and walked down that hallway.
Okay, so apparently he's obviously been charged. He's been referred to as a criminal defendant. Wow. All right, MAGA is too busy crying. I don't know about that, but wow, it's crazy. All politicians lie and steal, says Shearer. Well, in regards to it, I'll go back to the box, but in regards to the comment that all politicians lie and steal, whatever happened to the notion that Trump made the best candidate because he was not a typical politician? Now that he is falling into all of the traps and pitfalls of a regular politician, folks are often saying, well, they all do that. He was never supposed to be like everybody else. That is the reason he got elected, is he was not supposed to be a typical politician. Now he's doing typical politician type shit. You don't give him a pass. You point out that you disappointed folks who thought you were going to be different from a typical politician. That's the way I would take it. Hey, as long as this is the predecessor to arrest the rest of them, throw them in jail. I don't get that one, Smushy. Trump will win, says Mary Gass. Will he win the case, or will he win re-election in the presidency? If Trump is found guilty, he cannot be president. The grandfather clause thus rigged politics. How so? Something I'm kind of wondering in, why are we so confident or so comfortable with someone that is a convicted felon being a president? I understand many of my beloved MAGA believe that Trump is being railroaded. I get it. But at the end of the day, we don't even want felons to be a babysitter. Why the hell would we be okay with somebody who is a convicted felon? Keep in mind, Trump has access to the best and brightest lawyers in the country, if not the world. If he loses, you gotta assume they actually had at least a little something on the man. We don't want felons operating in any facet of life. Hell, you cannot even be an Uber driver if you're a felon in a lot of states. So why the hell would we be okay with the commander-in-chief being a felon? Are we that focused, or better yet, is the love for Trump that strong that all of a sudden we're willing to lift, standards and actually let a felon be in the White House? I can't believe that's actually not a crime, not on the books already, where they prevent a felon from being president. The fact that it's even a possibility makes no sense. All right, going back to the box. Trump is the Goro. Wow. Because they care more about their white fragility. What is the definition of white fragility? I've never heard that before. I've heard it before, but I don't know what it means. Eloquent lady, good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon, sir. How are you doing today?
I don't know on a historic day like this. All right.
So I've voted.
Is this a witch hunt?
I feel that it's convenient timing to try to derail him off the ticket. I feel if he can
Yeah.
get any kind of a record, it may deter people who have been so strong and supportive to derail him. I heard somebody else say they don't think that Biden will win against Trump. It's possible, but it's kind of up in the air. For me,
Yeah.
what my biggest sort of draws with this whole situation is if he's committed a crime, he's not above the law. And that's the way I viewed this entire
True.
thing. It's not about him being president in my eyes. If you convicted a crime, I'm sorry, even a former president, if they could convict Biden on committing crimes, he would deserve to go through the same process Trump is. And I don't think that we need to be holding
Right.
somebody who is a former president or is a presidential candidate above the law simply because they want to be president. That's not to say that, politicians don't do some crooked things, because you can look at past, behind closed doors deals and things like that with lobbyists. It does happen. Um, it's just sort of I hear it from both
Yeah.
sides. I've heard it from liberals. I hear it from people who are diehard MAGA, where it's the witch hunt, where they're trying to use this as a reason to just get Trump out. They don't want Trump in office, but Trump's puts his foot in his mouth a lot. Trump has created a lot of division. As much as people say he brought people together, he created a lot of divide. When you want to say things that are so polarizing and he said some really racial things while even in office, that it's sort of, do you really want that person to be the face of the country?
Did you vote for Trump any? Did you vote
I
for him
did.
in either one of his elections?
I voted in
Which one?
2016.
Okay, against Hillary Clinton. But you
Correct.
supported Biden in the last one?
No, I didn't vote last election.
Why after
I couldn't get out because of health reasons. That's why I didn't get out to vote.
who would if you could have voted, who would you voted for in 2020?
Between Biden and Trump, it would have been Trump, if you want the
Okay.
honest truth.
So yeah, absolutely. So for 2024, do you think Trump is the best candidate going forward?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't blame him for COVID. COVID sort of happened. I don't want to say that it was all his fault. It would be like me trying to blame Bush for everything that happened during 9/11. I think that those aren't fair parallels to make to a person. Because they're two very extreme situations. I
Right.
I think Trump, with all that he's done, as much as he's tried to put things forward, he didn't really do a whole lot in his last term. When he tried to run like the policy, like he didn't really have a good plan going forward. And for me, being a mom, I want to see changes for the schools. It's it's not necessarily that it's Trump all the way or nothing. I don't really see DeSantis as a good candidate either, just from watching his policies in Florida.
But wait a minute, you're saying you don't think he did a whole lot in his first term. There are folks who suggest Trump is one of the best presidents in history. Are you not one of them?
I guess you could say that. I don't hate him. I think that he had a lot of hiccups, especially midterm because of COVID. I think did he have things that he had to get his focus had to get redirected elsewhere? Yes. Um, I guess I'm sort of divided on it, where it's like he tried to do a lot of things, but did it actually come to fruition? And that's sort of where I look at it. You can
Yeah.
have a good idea and you can try things all day long, but if it doesn't come into process, you can't really see how his outcome would have been had he gotten certain policies put in, had he gotten.
But if you're saying, yeah, but if you're saying he tried a bunch of things and it didn't come to fruition,
Mhm.
Trump himself is stating the phrase promises made, promises kept. You don't sound like you agree with that.
Well, he hasn't really kept anything. He tried building a wall. The whole wall isn't completed. There's a lot of gaps in the wall, but that's to me an issue in and of itself. I don't necessarily
Mm-hmm.
blame that on him. The board is a very, very big place, and it takes a lot of money to fund that. And it's not. I don't think a wall is going to prevent everything from stopping completely, in my opinion.
No, absolutely.
You need a lot of
Yeah,
other
absolutely.
reforms in order to deal with a lot of the big issues that Trump is trying to speak on. And one or two band-aids is not going to fix the problem. And that goes for anybody. And that for me, that goes for any candidate. You can't just band-aid a couple of issues and say, oh, look, I fixed it. But did you
Right.
really?
Now, in the beginning of the conversation, you
Mm-hmm.
pointed out you think Trump has said a lot of divisive things. You even said he said racially charged statements and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So I have to ask the question, if you believe Trump is very divisive, even up to the point of being racial, why are you hesitant on suggesting he probably would not be the best candidate for 2024?
Do you think? I think if Trump can get out of his own way, it's possible he could be a good candidate. But he gets in his own way a lot.
What are the chances? But what are the chances that he would ever be reelected and actually get out of his own way?
You know, he could still get reelected and still not get out of his own way. That's the reality. We've seen it
Right.
even just within this own
If he
case
is
with him being on
yeah,
Twitter.
yeah, but that's not the question. The question I'm asking is if he is reelected, do you think he is even capable of getting out of his own way?
No.
All right.
And that's
That's the
that's
point
just
I'm
pattern
making.
of behavior.
Yeah. So the point I'm making is that if you believe he said things that are racially charged and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
why would you not immediately disqualify him as a choice for being reelected in the future?
I do, and I don't. My plan right now is not to vote for Trump. My plan is to vote for another candidate, even vote third party. I don't plan to vote for Trump in this upcoming election, um, just
Okay,
because I
fair.
feel that it's too polarizing. It's caused more problems than it's helped, and that's even since he's been out of office. It's just for me personally, and where I stand, I just don't think it's going to be the best fit. Um, it's anybody is capable of change. I feel Trump can be a little too dead set in how he wants to discuss things and how he wants to address things. It's like during COVID, calling everything the China virus. Like it's while if he did it as to be funny, he never stopped saying it.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like the Pocahontas thing. Yeah, it's like Pocahontas. He still does it, and yeah, I get
correct.
it.
And
I
that and
totally
that's
get
sort
it.
of my point with it. I'm not saying he's going around every other thing being racial, but he uses it as a point to try to sting and to make digs. And even if you have somebody who can be funny like that, even in a friend group, for me, after a certain point, it's no longer funny.
Yeah,
So,
and I totally have. I've said that before to folks on the right who said exactly what you said. Where he's only doing it as a joke, and I've said the same thing. It's only funny the first or maybe one or two times. When you keep doing it, at that point, it becomes bullying. It's no longer a joke at that point.
correct. And I'm sorry, I don't really want to bully for a president. I don't think anybody can say that it's in schools we don't support bullying. Why are we going to support a president who bullies? It's counterintuitive at that point. It truly is. You're going against something that you're saying you're against, and yet electing somebody into an office that the whole world can see that is doing the same behaviors. So you asked a great question earlier. How can you support it and go forward and still be okay with it? I can't. I think it comes from, I think a lot of people want to vote the opposite way, much like people did in when Biden got elected. They said it was the anti-Trump, anything but Trump.
You're right. But listening to you, I hear folks who have suggested that, particularly with these court cases, Trump is getting more support. You make it sound like any offseason, he has lost your support. You voted for him once. You were sick, but you made it clear you would have voted for him a second
Mm-hmm.
time. But now you're not very confident in him a third time. So for
Correct.
you, he has actually lost a supporter.
Correct. Now, my mother is still a
Yeah.
very big supporter. Her husband is still a very big supporter, and that's their own choice. And I try to view things as big circle and big picture. It's how I try to live my life. I've lived in very, very wonderful different settings and have gotten to experience multiple different cultures and multiple different people. And I think it's made me a more well-rounded person. I think Trump tries to come off like he's there for the common man and for everybody. But Trump has also lived a very privileged life. And I think a lot of people forget that. He has lived a privileged life above the rest of us. He is not like somebody who came up from either a income household and just decided to be run and become president and get into office. That's not who
He
Trump
didn't pull him.
is.
Yeah, you're saying he didn't pull himself up by his bootstraps. He was born with a
Correct.
silver spoon in his mouth. Yeah, I get it. I get it. All right, eloquent, very eloquent indeed. I got to
Thank
move the
you.
program on.
Not a problem. Thank you
Good
for
talk.
letting me in. Wonderful to talk to you.
Absolutely. Come on back through anytime. All
Will do.
right, folks, tap the screen. I was hoping I could get 50 thou out of you folks. A lot of lazy thumbs in here, 700 plus of you in here. Nevertheless, I would appreciate that. And as always, I don't block, ban, or censor anyone. The program is and shall remain MAGA friendly to the very end. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome. Like this type of dialogue without fear of being blocked or banned? Follow the program. Helps out the algorithm. Brings your boy more MAGA. Going back, I was about to say going back to the box. Someone put in the comments, Trump pulled himself up by his bone spurs. Yikes. All right, let's keep it going. We'll make it happen with Hassan Doormat. Did I say Hassan? Good afternoon. Appreciate hanging out with the program. Trump is a con. Well, he hasn't been convicted of anything, so you can't really call him a con yet. Good afternoon, Hassan.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good to have you on. Go ahead.
Thank you. I didn't have much to say besides just a little question.
Sure.
What exactly has Trump done for us as like I'm gonna separate us for a second, but what has Trump done exactly for the black people of America since he's been in office?
It's a good question. Well, it depends on who you ask, because certain African Americans can see things that he's done as being beneficial, and others can see nothing. Such as he sat down with Kim Kardashian, and it led to a few African Americans being pardoned from the criminal justice system. Many would point out that he, although it's traditional, he did allocate money to black colleges. Folks would point out the economy in urban areas around America were far better under President Trump. There were more jobs for African Americans. But there are other African Americans on the other side of the aisle that think all of that is bullshit. So it does depend on who you talk to.
Okay, awesome. That makes sense. Um, do you think that no? Do you think that Biden will overturn anything Trump's done, and do you think that will be a bad thing?
Well, he has rolled back the Trump's immigration policies. So he's already overturned some of the things President Trump has done. There are certain things that he cannot overturn, but because they are complete polar opposites in terms of politics, Biden is going to roll back as much of Trump's policies as he can. Now, some of Trump's policies actually were working for this country, such as the immigration policies. Biden rolled them back. It became a disaster, and he's went back to the Trump immigration policy. So it depends on the policy.
Right, gotcha. And I only have like one more question.
Sure, not a problem.
After this whole indictment situation, do you think that Trump will be able to run again in 2024?
Yeah, based on what's coming out of New York, I believe the answer is yes. However, I've said throughout the live stream, this will not be the only time President Trump is arrested and indicted. I do believe he's going to be indicted based on the find me 11,000 votes down in Georgia. And I think there's a good chance the January 6th committee will get an arrest out of that as well. I'm not saying any of this will lead to a conviction, but in regards to your question, will this prevent him from running? I will just simply say this is not the only bullet they're going to fire at the guy. So he might survive getting shot by this one, but there are other rounds on the way.
Gotcha. Okay, all of that makes sense.
All
Thank
right.
you for letting me
Appreciate you
know.
coming in here.
No
Hey,
problem.
it's a pleasure having you on. Come on back through anytime.
Alrighty.
Absolutely. All right. Comments. Dems grabbing at straws. Why are they scared of him? Tucker time. As in Tucker Carlson. In regards to Tucker Time's comment, Democrats are grabbing at straws. Why are they scared of President Trump? Now, we can debate whether they're grabbing at straws or not. If you believe President Trump is innocent of all of this, yeah, they're grabbing at straws if you believe that. But in regards to why are the Dems scared of Trump, every single one of them is on a chopping block. That's why they would be scared of President Trump. Every principle Democrats stand for, if you get a strong Trump administration, is in jeopardy. That is why Democrats will be afraid of President Trump. Hell, he tweeted out in 2017 that 81% of white people are killed by blacks. If you are the victim of a homicide, there's an 81% chance that a black person did it. Now, the real numbers are like 14% or something like that, and I've done a video on it, but hell, as a Democrat, that's frightening to let Caucasians think that if you are ever the victim of a homicide, chances are somebody that looks like your host is the one that did it. In my opinion, if I'm Caucasian, I don't have any African American friends or associates, and I see an African American coming down the street, I'm either going to cross to the other side or put my hand on my gun. Because if there is an 81% chance if I'm involved in a homicide, somebody looking like that dude did it. That's something that Trump tweeted out. Not to mention, we can talk about the total and complete ban on all Muslims, or this is going to be a big one for folks who support the LGBT community. Trump stated at CPAC, I believe last month, that if he is reelected, he's going to ask Congress to identify people based on the gender that's on their birth certificate. Now, I understand my beloved MAGA really supports that. Fair, that's fine. However, for the transgender community, that is a point where you will cease to exist in the eyes of government. If Congress identifies you based on what is on your birth certificate, that means it's going to be on your driver's license, it's going to be on all your documents and things like that. Meaning that you can no longer even be a transgendered individual. You will cease to exist in the eyes of government. So for LGBT fighters out there, they're fighting against total annihilation. Good example. Let's say, for instance, an ugly ass guy like me decides to identify as a woman. Probably be one of the ugliest women you've seen, but if I decide to identify as a woman, that means I want to put female on my driver's license. Based on Trump's goal, that cannot happen. I cannot become transgender. He essentially blocked me from doing it. I can't put it down on my taxes. I can't put it anywhere because he's told Congress not to even recognize that. Go by what's on his birth certificate. So for the transgender community, there is no choice but to vote for a Democrat. Yes, why do Democrats fear President Trump? It's stuff like that. Looking in the box, we'll keep it moving. We'll go straight to Tim McKnight. Appreciate you holding. By the way, folks, I'm trying to get you in. I apologize if it's not in order. TikTok moves the names around, so I try to get you in. Praying for our president. Well, fair enough. What a good day and speaker. Hopefully some of that's aimed at your host. Appreciate it. Wait till a trans man walks into a woman's bathroom backwards. People will be hurt. Why would a trans man walk into a woman's bathroom in reverse? You walk into the bathroom fully clothed. What difference would it make if you walked in backwards? I don't understand. All right, for some reason my last guess is either stuck in limbo land or not coming in. Nevertheless, we'll keep it moving with redneck hillbilly or redneck Billy. Billy. It looks all the same. I apologize. Redneck Billy.
Hey, man.
I don't know what's going. There we go. All right.
Nice to see you
What are we
again.
doing today, man?
Hey, from the last time we talked, I told you that I would vote for Trump again. I think I've changed my
Yeah.
mind about that because of this. And
Really?
the reason being is I believe if Trump is reelected, he's going to be very ineffective because he's going to spend so much time trying to defend himself against everything under the sun. I think that's going to render
So
him ineffective.
what you're saying is what a lot of MAGA stated from his first term is that they were after him from day one. What you're suggesting, if he gets reelected, they are going to be after him from day one again.
Yep, I believe that's true.
I believe that. I agree with that. I do
Yeah,
agree with that. And I've asked folks who want Trump in 2024 exactly what you just stated. I've asked them, if he is attacked from day one, what do you really expect him to accomplish?
exactly. Yep. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to revisit you, jump back in again, and just tell you, from last week when we talked that, yeah, I, I think I've changed my mind a little bit.
Who do you want? Who do you favor if not Trump? DeSantis?
At this point, I really don't see anyone that I'm interested in.
What happened to DeSantis?
I may not
DeSantis
vote
has.
this time.
But wait a minute. When you look at what happened in the midterms, DeSantis was the strongest Republican victor out of all of the politicians. Why has he lost so much support so quickly?
I can't answer that, to be honest. I think there's people that are more well informed than I am. I'm just an old guy, retired, puts a rear end in his chair every day, and basically, I don't look at the news. The news is so depressing in the way this country is divided. I wish the American citizens on both sides could stop being such extremists in their views and opinions, because I think that is what's damaging America. And
Yeah.
we're constantly being brainwashed, no matter if you watch Fox or Tucker Carlson, or if you watch MSNBC, it doesn't matter. You're being brainwashed on both sides. And I don't
Yeah.
understand why the American people cannot see that and come together and put an end to this absolute tyranny on both sides.
Mm. Well, and I don't disagree with that. But before I let you go, last question. Do you actually believe that the things they're charging Trump or alleging Trump did in a variety of jurisdictions, because New York's not the only place? Do you believe all this stuff is made up, or do you believe he actually did some of this stuff?
You know what? I am the type of guy that will say I can't answer that because I don't have the facts and I can't make a judgment. And I think that's for courts to determine, not for me.
It's a fair point.
It's
That's a
not
fair
for
point. But
anybody.
at the end of the day, you are saying you want to see what comes out of the court. You're not automatically assuming he's guilty or innocent.
That's correct. But I do
That's
believe that if he was to win 24, he would be ineffective.
wow. Wow.
And
All right.
so that's I'll wait and see, guilty or innocent. But I don't think whether he's guilty or innocent is going to make any difference on the way that anybody on either side views him. I
Yeah.
think the left is still going to hate him. The extreme right are going to Trump train, and I'm just not that kind of guy.
But when you say even if he's guilty, it's not going to change anything. So, do you buy into his statement that he could take someone out in the middle of Fifth Avenue and his supporters would go nowhere? Do you believe there's some validity to that?
That they're not going to what?
Do you buy into, because you said that whether he's found innocent or guilty is not going to really change any supporters? Do you buy into his original statement that he could take someone out in the middle of Fifth Avenue and his supporters would go nowhere?
Hmm. I don't know if I believe that. I
Okay. All
no.
right.
Because to be honest, I don't think
I think Trump has really put a doubt in some of his followers' minds that,
How so?
well, I just don't think that he's going to be able to say anything to rectify the damage that's been done.
What is
And
the
I don't,
damage? Because his supporters don't seem to be going anywhere. What do you mean when you say damage? What damage has been done?
well, I think in the way that he handles everything, I think a lot of people on the right are going, why don't you just step up to the plate? Let's quit all this theatrics that we've got going on this very moment and do everything that you need to do and just wait and see. I mean, there's no sense in fighting this. It's already here. Let's just move
Right.
on. Don't say anything about it until it's all said and done. And then when it's all said and done, don't make excuses for either way it turns out.
But he
Don't
makes
say,
a
well,
lot
I
of
had to
money.
fight and I had to fight the left and I had to fight the left. I don't want to hear it. We know it, you
Yeah,
know?
but wait a minute though. This is where you hear folks suggest that African Americans, for instance, are always playing the victim. Playing victim is making Trump a ton of money. I get your point about don't sit here and keep blaming Democrats, but that constant blame of Democrats is helping him raise a ton of money.
Yeah, I have my whole thoughts about financial campaign, reform, where money is concerned. Uh,
Yeah, you want money out of
Personally,
politics.
I don't think that any one politician should ever receive a check for more than $2,500 from any contributor. That's that's my
Wow.
opinion.
I think most constituents, most
I
voters
think
would
that would
actually agree with
destroy.
that.
I think that would destroy a lot of this power and money grubbing that goes on.
Yeah,
You limit those campaign reforms, those guys, a person running has no choice but to be for the people, right? If your campaign
yeah.
funds are limited, that's the only way is get your message out there that you are for the people, regardless of which side you're on.
Yeah, and there's a lot of folks in the comments that agree with you. I think what you just suggested, minimizing how much a person can donate or how much an entity could donate down to that level is something that the overwhelming majority of constituents and voters would agree with. But Ragnet, got to move it on. You
Okay,
know, it's
man.
always
Thank you.
good talking to you, man. Hey,
Thank you, sir.
absolutely, absolutely.
All
All
right.
right,
Bye
thank
bye.
you. All right, looking in the comments. Screen, get your boy up to 60,000 likes. Some lazy thumbs in here. Having a hard time getting you guys to show your boy some love. Help out the algorithms. Nevertheless, as always, the program is and shall remain in its entirety MAGA friendly. Always will be. Liberals are welcome as well. So you guys also think Bill Gates created Microsoft? Who the hell is suggesting that Bill Gates is not responsible for Microsoft? It's 2023. I was using DOS in the late 80s. Nobody was suggesting that Bill Gates didn't create Microsoft in the late 80s. You want to tell me 40 years later? I don't think that's even worthy of debating at this point. Look up the fraud. Look the fraud up. Fair enough. That's what kids think. Okay. I am not a fan of Trump, but he's not going down for this. JW, Grey Wolf, in regards to whether Trump goes down for this, I would probably submit to you the old rap song by a group called Black Sheep. You can get with this or you can get with that. But there will be that's in Trump's future. So even if he doesn't go down for this, he might go down for that. All right, looking in the comments, or better at the box, we'll keep it moving with JRP. Appreciate you coming. I don't know what happened with Tim. I was trying to bring you on, but looks. But we'll keep it going. JRP Music, good afternoon. Welcome back to the program.
How's it going?
It's going good. I mean, but we're talking about a former president, first one in history to be arrested. What will Trump's legacy be like? I mean, when folks hear about Trump 50 years from now, what will his legacy be like? What do you think?
The most attacked former / president in the entire American history.
You really think that 50 years from now, because us older folks are not going to tell as much as some of the younger generation. You think that's the first thing they're going to say is he was always being attacked?
Oh yeah, most definitely. And see, the thing is that they're going to keep on doing this. And okay, this has been stated in the news and the social media and everything that they're literally making this man into a martyr. Like he is going to be so big and powerful from his supporter standpoint, and he's even actually gaining more people right now because of this. I've seen people totally flip the script and go from Democratic to supporting Trump just on the simple statement of what they're trying to do to him now. Like just because they
I've
know
heard that. I've heard other people. Let me respond to it because I've heard people say that, and that's you hearing that comment. What do you? And I'm going to sound like I'm going off topic, but we're going to be on topic. I assure you of that. What do you think is Biden? What do you think of Biden as president? If you had to give him a letter grade,
I'd give him an F and a half.
so he, and a half. Oh, that's a new grade. So he's been terrible in your opinion.
100%.
So let's assume, for shits and giggles, you absolutely knew without a shadow of a doubt that Biden was being charged for something that he did not do. It was clearly a witch hunt, clearly something trumped up. You knew that without a shadow of a doubt that they are charging this man criminally for something he didn't do. What are the chances? An F and a half. What are the chances you would switch your support for Biden because you believe he's being charged for something he didn't do?
I wouldn't. I think that Biden's policy is garbage. I think that everything that he stands for is un-American. I think that he's trying to create division in our country, and he's done that very well. I mean, in that aspect, I'd give him an A and a half. You know what I'm saying? Like he literally has put a wedge in between this social standing and this social standing, or this color person and that color person, or this denomination of who you support politically, and this every single thing that
He
that
goes
man does.
against all your principles. In other words, Biden goes against all your principles.
Not even all my principles. He's just the division creator. It does like the right against the left, the gay against the straight, the LGBTQ against the conservatives. He always pits one group of people against the other group of people because that's the only way he makes his money. That's the only way he can try to pass his gun laws.
But
That's the
think
only way he can
about
try
what
to.
you're saying, though. Think about what you're saying. Biden, F and a half. He is the worst president probably in your lifetime. But even if he was wrongfully arrested, there's absolutely no way you would vote for that man. Yet you think that Trump, who goes against the liberal principles almost in the same manner, you think that because he's being arrested on trumped up charges, a liberal that is pro-choice, a liberal that wants common sense gun legislation, or a liberal that's pro-LGBT is going to go against all of their principles and vote for Trump because of some trumped up charges. You believe that? You said his
Oh,
support is growing from Democrats.
let me explain it to this, okay? That's my standpoint.
Sure.
I would not vote for
Okay.
Biden because
All right.
because of the man he is. But I'm saying I've talked to a lot of liberal people in my time, and I've talked to a lot of conservative people, and even in just the last 2-3 weeks, I've seen the Democratic people slide their shift to support Trump. I mean, look at Mitch McConnell. Or not Mitch McConnell? Lindsey Graham. He doesn't even really like Trump. Do you see how he said that on TV? When they
Lindsey Graham is not a Democrat.
No, he's not, but he's a rhino. He doesn't like Trump. Him and Trump have stated this back and forth for a long time.
Lindsey Graham has been on the golf course with President Trump, endorsed.
Yeah,
Lindsey Graham has never been anything resembling a liberal. Rhino, you can talk about. That's something a whole new created category. But
I'm not saying he's liberal. I'm saying that he always had a little scuff with President Trump. Him and him did not agree on a lot of things.
but wait a minute. Isn't Lindsey Graham that was the one on television just a couple of days ago saying that you should donate money to Trump to help him out of this bullshit?
That's what I'm saying, because prior to that, he wasn't that supportive. But he said he's done with this. He can't stand this. This is going to ruin America. And you want to know what? To a sense, it's going to ruin America, but it's also going to bring a lot of us together. I mean, whether or not it's a group of people or a political persecution of someone, this is going to bring a lot of people together from both sides, because they're going to realize that what they are doing to Trump right now is literally it's
I think yeah, I hear your point. I think the reason, the example I gave you about Biden being an F and a half candidate, I gotta disagree based on your answer that what's happening to Trump is going to bring Democrat supporters to him. And the reason I say that is as a voter, whether you are on the right side of the aisle or the left side of the aisle, you're voting based on principles. You either believe in protecting the life of the unborn or you believe a woman should have a right to choose. You're not going to switch sides for that because some dude is getting arrested for something he didn't do. The same thing with gun laws. You either believe that the Second Amendment shall not be infringed upon, or you believe certain guns, or if not all guns, should be taken away. You're not going to switch sides because some dude got arrested for something he didn't do. So to me, the idea that a Democrat or a liberal would switch sides because Trump was wrongfully arrested makes me question if that person ever was a liberal or a Democrat to begin with.
A lot of people might just be supporting it to go against Trump because of the simple fact they don't like some of his policies or the way that he delivers his policy. But see, the thing is that there's people on both sides that are just on their sides to go against the grain. It has nothing to do with what they believe in. There's people that I call these people.
Why would you do that? Why would,
people,
if you strongly believe the Second Amendment shall not be infringed upon, why would you vote for a candidate like Beto O'Rourke? I don't care what is happening to Beto O'Rourke. He stated, I want to take away your guns. I don't care how much he's being railroaded. I don't care what he's being charged with. If you believe the Second Amendment shall be not be infringed upon, you're not going to vote for him no matter what the hell they're doing to him. I don't see how that changes with Trump.
These are the people that I call the ICCs. They are called the in-crowd citizens. These are the people that follow the masses no matter which way they're going because somehow they're unhappy with themselves and they follow the in-crowd to be part of the people or the bigger picture of wherever they stand in their demographic area. People do this all the time. Yeah. They're called ICCs. Okay. That's literally what it is.
They should be called if they're suggesting they're liberals, they should be called dinos. You know, we don't have a rhino category, but they should be called dinos. If you go switch to Trump is very strong in his views, strong in his opinions on how the country should be ran. And they are anti-democratic in nature. If you switch to Trump because of what's happening in court, you were not a true liberal or Democrat to begin with. You were a dino from day one.
I agree. I'm just stating the fact that there's these people, and this does happen. And whether or not your beliefs coexist with this and they go along with the narrative, it happens. Like your last guest was saying, we are so divided on every front of this country, and that is the biggest problem. Once we do figure it out, how to come together, whether it be with our views in political or just our views in life, that's when we're all going to matter. That's when change is going to happen. But if we keep doing this, what we're doing now, sir, it's never going to work. We're going to fall apart.
I agree with you 100%. But let me ask you this. With Trump gaining support, in your opinion, do you believe he would be the candidate to put in office to make us come back together? Do you see Trump as being a unifier?
I do see Trump being a unifier. Have you seen his rallies? Have you seen his support? I mean, they want to lead us to believe that we're less than we are. But you know how many MAGA supporters there are, and it's not just MAGA. It's not just supporting Trump. It's the American values in which people follow, which people support. It's not like everyone calls the MAGA supporters extremists. These are people. The extremists that you state are not extremists because they're following Trump. They're extremists because they see their country being torn apart by all this ideology, whether it comes from the extreme right or extreme left, and they're pissed. And you call them extremists because they have passion and patriotism in their heart. And that's the wrong thing. That's where the division comes from.
You said you see Trump as a unifier. If I'm LGBT and I show up at one of those rallies, am I welcome at that rally? If I'm transgender and I show up to a Trump rally, do you think I would be welcome there?
Honestly, yes, because that's not how we are. That's not how we think. Okay, the thing that we are about, okay, we do not care what you do with your body. Do whatever it is you want. Whether you want to change to be a man or a woman, it does not matter. But do not point it at the children. When they're 18, yes, they can do whatever the hell they want.
Hang on a second. You're saying that you don't care what a person does with their body. Give me your opinion as to why President Trump would state that if he is reelected, he's going to ask Congress to identify genders based on what is on the birth certificate. That has nothing to do with children.
Okay, why is that a problem? It was what God gave you when you were born. You can sit there and dress like a woman or dress like a man, and you can say that you want to be one. But why would we have to legally change something to fit your narrative, to fit what you want? Why would we have to do extra things? Why
Because
do you get
you, that's a good question. That's a good question. Why would you have to? Because you just stated you don't care. Now you sounding like you do care what I do.
no, no. But why would you need special attention? Is what I'm saying. Why would you need special needs? Why would you get benefits other than any other group in the entire world? Why do we have to do everything to please you? Yes, go do what you want, but we ain't gonna sit there and change legalities for you. What's the point of that?
So in other
Like what?
words, based on what your side, the unifying side wants to do is make it so legally I can never become a transgender because as you said, I don't deserve any special treatment.
No, you can be a transgender, do whatever you want. But why does there have to be a piece of paper saying that you wanted to change from a man to a woman? I don't understand that. What ideology? What? How does that make sense? Is what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just kind of heated about the situation because I don't feel that they should get special attention just because they want to change their body. I
How
mean,
is
that's like,
how is how is changing the gender on my driver's license giving me special attention?
well, for one, it's gonna cost taxpayers money to change it all up. All the IDs are gonna have to be different. I mean, if
How
you want to talk about
much
money,
how much money does it take to change the M to an F on my driver's license?
well, people were bitching about building a wall and how much money it was going to take, but you want to know what? It lowered crime and it lowered drugs in America.
Okay. All right. Well, I just want to say this. I get your point. There's a lot of folks even on the Democratic side that may not be strong fans of the transgender community, particularly among African Americans. But I only ask you these questions because originally you stated the LGBT, particularly trans, would be welcome at a MAGA gathering, and we don't care what you do with your life. But now that we're going through this dialogue, it's pretty clear you do care. You don't even want it to be done because, like you said, it's going to cost money. We don't want to give you special attention. You were born this way. You do care. And it has nothing to do with children because we haven't discussed kids at all. And you're still very much resistant to it.
Well, it does. The reason why we're so heated about it is because they were focusing on our children. I mean, there's been many videos of certain people targeting our kids and telling them saying, "Oh, your parents messed up. Your parents did this problem. Don't listen to your parents. Talk to me. I'm the one who's your friend." You don't do that to people's children. I don't care what denomination you are. When you start focusing on the
Yeah.
kids, that's when people get pissed, and that's what happened. That's why we are the way we are now. But like, and we're still looking past that and saying, okay, do what you want with your body. Just leave the kids alone, and I don't care what you do. If you think it's better to have an M on your driver's license and not a female, whatever. If that's what we can do to have like a middle ground here, so that way we're both happy, then do it. But just keep the kids out of the situation. They do not need to be exposed to that.
Well, yeah, but that is it's kind of too late to do that at this point because Trump has already let the cat out the bag that he plans on preventing you from changing your sex on your driver's license or on your documents because he is going to force you to go by the gender you were at birth. So if you let Trump get in office and do that, it literally will make the transgender community cease to exist in government eyes. So when you say the transgender community, it's pretty easy to suggest that they are fighting for their very existence when they vote Democrat because the Republican Party is trying to eradicate them in the terms of government's eyes. So if you're trans, you have no right, no reason at all to vote Republican. They're going to get rid of you.
I get what you're saying. I mean, it is kind of strict, and I do agree with that. But you got to
Yeah.
admit, can you with a straight face and a light heart say that Trump's policy was bad policy, other than him hurting people's feelings? Like, was it good for America in the bigger picture, as say in a democratic standpoint, because majority rules? Do you think that Trump's policy was better for the country than what Biden is doing now?
That's an excellent question. Here's my. It's going to be a little bit of an answer here, but I do think that on paper Trump's policies were to the point where he should have got a second term. But let me give you my spiel. In my opinion, President Trump is like a father that takes care of the house. Everybody in the house has all of the latest toys. The wife has the best purses. They got two cars. They got a nice white picket fence. The house is doing good. There's plenty of money in the bank. However, Trump comes home from work and will whisper something in one kid's ear to make them hate the other kid. He will tell the wife, you are fat, you're gaining weight, and you look unattractive. So although they have everything they could ever want, everybody in the house hates each other. The children come home from school, they go to their own rooms, they separate, they don't want to see each other. And at the end of the day, Trump is downstairs yelling up the steps, don't pay attention to what I say, pay attention to what you all have. That is how I respond when folks ask, do you favor Trump's policies? What about the condition of everybody in the damn house?
I get what you're saying, and that comes from both sides. I mean, we're never going to get 100%.
We're not talking about both sides, we're talking about Trump.
Well, I mean, I could say the same thing about Biden, but that's still not going to help the picture here because there's still division whether or not it's Trump or whether or not it's Biden. So then if that's the case, then us Americans as people and biological people, we have to come together and find some kind of unity. Otherwise, we're going to be completely eradicated from the face of this earth by our hatred. I mean, regardless of whether
we can discuss Biden, but at the beginning of the conversation, you suggested that Trump is a unifier. I don't believe that.
I think he's a unifier of the majority because, I mean, whether or not any of us want to believe it, there's a hell of a lot more people that believe in the MAGA principles than anything else.
But yet he lost. How did that happen?
We could say that, but I mean,
I know where you're going. I got to move it on. JPR, but I appreciate you coming in. JRP. All right. Good talk. Good spirited debate. Come on back through, man. Yeah, you too. All right. Looking in the comments, what? I see the comment. I wanted to read it, but okay. We all know what happened, man, says Jenna. No, we don't. And in regards to what happened on November 4th, 2020, how do you think history is going to detail that? Because you're going to have folks till their dying day, well, you know, they took that from Trump. But then when a little kid looks up at Grandpa, why do you say they took it from Trump? It says this in my social studies book. Grandpa got to look at the kid. You know, everything in that damn book is wrong. That's not how it's going to go, folks. Until Trump comes up with some legitimate proof, history is going to say he lost. History is going to say he lost. And the idea that he lost is going to only grow as many of us who were alive when the election dies off. Now, keep in mind, not comparing Trump to any of these people, but there was a hell of a lot of support for Hitler right after he left. A hell of a lot of support for Stalin, Saddam Hussein. But history has shown that support has died off. There was support for President Nixon when he first left office. Plenty of people, as a Republican president, liked his policies. Talking about President Nixon. But history, looking back, what is the first thing that comes to mind when you think of President Nixon? You don't think about the economy or any of that stuff. One thing comes to mind when President Nixon is mentioned, because most of the people who were alive politically during his time have passed on. So history has written how Nixon shall be viewed. My humble opinion is that's what's going to happen to Trump. If he does not get reelected and fix or correct his legacy, it's going to be just like Laura Ingraham, Brian Kilmeade, Sean Hannity, and the rest of them were telling him when they were trying to get in contact with him on January 6th. You are ruining everything you just did. They were letting him know. By letting this happen, letting the Capitol building be stormed and not doing anything about it, you are ruining your legacy. That came out during the January 6th testimony. I understand a lot of my beloved MAGA was not watching it, but nevertheless, that did come out, that they were trying to get in contact with him, leaving him voice messages, telling him, you're ruining your legacy. And at the end of the day, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, when you bring up President Trump, you think they're going to talk about a good economy or he tried to build a wall? That stuff's not going to come up. Unless you have somebody else that faces multiple impeachments, get their house raided, get indicted, that's what's going to come up. Nixon, like I said, we know the legacy of Nixon. President Clinton is another that faced impeachment. Because a lot of us that were politically involved are alive still, when you bring up Clinton, some of the good comes up. But as we begin to die off, that impeachment is all that's going to be brought up in regards to President Clinton. And when it comes to Nixon, Clinton, and others that have dealt with shit, Trump has had a hell of a lot more thrown at him. He's had 2 impeachments, not 1. He's had his house raided. Nobody else had that happen. And now they fucking arrested him today. You gonna tell me 50 years from now, they gonna be bringing up good shit? No, that's what's gonna come up. I'm not saying it's fair or not. That is what's gonna be on that man's legacy unless he gets reelected and does something great. Because most of Trump's best hits, greatest hits, are things he tried to do, not things he actually did. He was going to give us term limits. He was going to give us a wall. He was going to drain the swamp. That stuff didn't happen. It's stuff he promised we were going to try to do. When you look at the actual accomplishments, they don't compare to getting your damn house raided or getting impeached twice. We can talk about it being a witch hunt or being made up, but at the end of the day, it happened. It's on record. The man was impeached twice. Same thing with Bill Clinton. A lot of folks during the Clinton era thought the impeachments of Clinton over oral sex was bullshit. A lot of folks still think that. But at the end of the day, the impeachment stuck and remains on his record. Unfortunately, folks, it is a lunch break live. I appreciate you rolling with me. You could be anywhere you want to be on the app. Nevertheless, you've been with your boy. 71,000 likes. I would have liked more, but I can't hate on 71,000. First president in U.S. history to actually be taken to a city jail. I'll catch you guys on the next live. It's your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal. I'm out.